So that big movie I wanted to cover next won't be here till May. Guess I'll have to look at something else. And despite my better judgment, I think we're in for quite a ride. Hell yeah, a movie featuring cats as the primary animal? That means I have to like it a lot, right? Well, no. Bad cat films are still a thing, and besides that, I never got to see the Cats musical, which is what this movie is adapting. And while I knew about it growing up, I only knew it mostly through that one parody from Hey Arnold.
It's so beautiful. And so true.
Cats originally premiered in 1981 at the New London Theatre, with music composed by Andrew Lloyd Webber, who also worked on the score for Phantom of the Opera. It was based on a collection of poems and unpublished drafts of the Old Possum's Book of Practical Cats by T.S. Eliot. For a long time, the musical garnered mixed reviews. Some loved the stylish production values that took advantage of the entire auditorium space, a novel approach at the time, and how the work set the standard for what to expect from future musicals. Detractors, on the other hand, found the visuals overwhelming and didn't care much for the story conveyed through choreography. Again, I have never seen any of its runs, so I can't tell you how this movie fares compared to any of its earliest iterations. Any criticism I have for the 2019 film will mostly be self-contained, though I will look for material I can compare with when able, like the 1998 direct-to-video film. So let's just jump right in and get a better look at what this is about. So right away, we open in London, where some peculiar creatures are looking at this one car. So, yeah, those cat designs. All the cat actors in this movie used motion capture suits, so that post-production editing would give them fur and textures resembling real-life cats. The problem is that they still look pretty human, in skin-tight outfits. They also move in a supposedly cat-like manner, elegantly and free-like, but it comes off awkward and unappealing. The original cat designs from the musicals and 1998 film, by contrast, had a sense of style to them that gave each cat a unique appearance. And even if they look human, given the limitations of stage theater, they still stand out for the sake of the story. But for a film that gives us larger-than-life set pieces, complete with cityscapes, detailed props, and layouts, having them be like this doesn't quite work for human-like cats. If anything, I don't think Cats was ever meant to be made on such a larger scale like this. They should have made the cats look like actual cats, perhaps similar in design to characters from The Cat Returns. That could be done through 2D animation, which was Amblin's original idea, or a mix of CG and live-action set pieces, as seen in the recent Lion King remake. So, during this overture segment, we see that the contents of this bag contains a cat named Victoria, played by Francesca Hayward, and as the cats scatter, they sing what would be the musical's prologue.
Are you blind when you're born? Can you see in the dark? Can you look at a king?
Would you sit on his throne?
You know how to go to the heavy-side lair, because jellicles can and jellicles do.
Jellicles do and jellicles can.
So this song serves as an intro to the cats we'll be following. This could be their standard to what cats are in general. Crafty, nimble, and prideful. The song itself is alright, but the choreography here is... I mean, they're at least taking advantage of their environment. But knowing that this is all CGI takes away some of the authenticity it might have. It's a shame, since there is some potential with the world design, and I like how Idris Elba's character, Macavity, changes this one signboard into his own image. But the dance stuff feels a bit much otherwise. Now I should mention that Tom Hooper directed this movie, just as he did with Les Miserables in 2012. And while I thought Les Mis was okay, I can't say his time with this movie did him any favors. Because of how much work the VFX crew had to do, plus Hooper's allegedly belittling treatment of said crew, some of the film looks unappealing or lacking in places. In fact, earlier theater releases back in December had plenty of glitches. The most infamous one showed Judi Dench's character with a human hand, with the wedding ring intact. As a result, they had to go back and fix these issues while the film was still in theaters. So, technical issues and design choices aside, the movie's songs range from poor to decent. But if there's one thing that's especially not done well at all, it's the story. We literally start with the recently abandoned Victoria running into these cats. They don't start asking her questions about who she is until after the song. And she gets pestered by Macavity, who is saying he's gonna be the Jellicle choice in the upcoming ball.
What's your name?
Victoria.
Victoria. You must have another.
Another?
The naming of cats is a difficult matter. It isn't just one of your holiday games.
In the original musical, Victoria was already a member of the Jellicle tribe and was considered to be their best dancer despite her age. This sequence, the naming of cats, would have been their way to tell the audience how the characters got their names. But since this film features more natural dialogue, on top of music numbers, this comes off as a case of, you're not a real cat unless you have 3 names, kinda changing the narrative a bit for some of these characters. So, during the Jellicle Ball, one of them will be selected to go to the Heaviside Layer and be reborn to what they most desire. Like...
I have a Gumby cat in mind. Her name is Jenny Any Dots.
I see she likes to manspread like Morgana.
She sits and sits and sits and sits. And that's what makes a Gumby cat.
So in other words, a fat cat wants to be skinny. Is that it? Here's another reason why this movie might work better with actual looking cats. I do not need to see someone scratching their nethers. Oh, and if you thought the cats were creepy looking in this, just wait till you meet the mice. Oh, and don't forget the cockroaches! Rebel Wilson deserves much better than this. Imagine her human owner showing up and seeing all this. I wonder what the reaction would be. Would it be, what the hell happened to my kitchen? Or, I never knew you could do that, Jenny. At this point, it just feels like the story is stalled due to needing to give us all the characters' motivations for wanting to win the ball with drawn-out song sequences. They can be good or bad depending on the singer, but don't help move the plot along.
Well, I'd have a feed at the back.
Get out of this kitchen now!
Let's dance!
The rum-tum tiger is a
Curious cat.
If you offer me pheasant, I'd rather have grouse. If you put me in a house, I would much prefer a flat. If you put me in a flat, then I'd rather have a house.
This probably would be more interesting if this wasn't a movie about a bunch of human cat people dancing around human property and doing God knows what. If this were a stage play, I'd probably be fascinated by the wild fashion and voices. But here, it's just an oddball.
Stop milking it!
Was that an improv? Whatever. Next scene.
Remark the cat who hesitates towards you.
And? Okay, so based on what happens after this song, she used to be the tribe's star member before she ended up with Macavity and was cast out. We still don't know much about Macavity. Maybe he's a criminal mastermind? Well, never mind them for now. Here comes another fat cat!
You can't attend the ball on an empty stomach.
So you're hoping to be chosen?
Yeah, he wants to be reborn as a thin cat so he can get fat all over again.
Oh, so he's the one they're supposed to make fun of because he's fat?
How dare you? Don't listen to her.
Don't you listen to him, because he is a complete
I'm
nutter
Bustopher Jones. I'm not skin and bones. In fact, I'm remarkably fat.
Oh, well, when you put it like that, I guess they are. And while they're busy dancing away, Jenny runs into Macavity.
Yes!
That face should be on a poster.
And apparently, he's got magic powers! At least this song is better composed, since we're dealing with someone putting on a sophisticated air, even when around garbage.
I am frequently seen at the gay stage and screen, which is famous for winkles and shrimps. In the season of venison, I give my venison to the pot hunter's succulent bones. And just before noon's not a moment too soon. Right, well, that's not going to work, is it? Okay? Look at you and look at me, and you know that I'm sensitive about my size. Okay? And yet you embarrass me. That's what I say to you.
So, are you happy being fat, or are you sensitive about it? Which is it? Now, suddenly, the song loses points for not one, not two, but three abrupt jokes about his weight.
Thanks, Tugger.
He kinda seemed more noble in the musical version, at least from what this clip shows.
My visits are occasional to the senior educational, and it is against the rules.
It's like Tom Hooper wanted to suck up any charm the musical had, instead of allowing it to grow with the size and scale of its world. The actors might be hamming it up with their roles, but when you apply all these effects with these poor jokes, it doesn't make for an engaging experience. So Macavity makes Bustopher disappear through a pipe, and Victoria ends up meeting Mongol Jerry and Rumpelteazer. I guess they are the kind of house cats who break things or steal stuff when you're not looking. I mean, they have collars, similar to another tomcat, Munkustrap. The other tomcat is Mr. Mistopheles, and he's a magician like Macavity. Speaking of which, it seems Macavity is trying to eliminate the competition by kidnapping the other characters. And right now, he's leaving them with... Who are you?
Grow tiger. I'm a Bravo cat. I travel along the bulge. In fact, I am the roughest cat.
Okay, I'm gonna stop you right there. You see, in the original musical, this character had a song which included a racial epithet in it when referring to an incident with a Siamese cat. Hence why this song would be removed in 2016. Though the direct-to-video version omitted it long before that. Honestly, it doesn't matter either way. It's not like we get much of him here anyway. Now it's time to meet the leader of this tribe, Old Deuteronomy. The character was an old man in the musical, but here she's an old woman played by Judi Dench. She certainly looks like a well-fashioned old woman. Her design reminds of that from the original Jenny, or rather Jenny Anydots, since her fur looks like a dress in the musical. I can dig it. Guess the ball is inside this old abandoned bar.
Jellicle cats, come one, come all. The Jellicle moon is shining bright.
And then they obtained their Sulong forms so they can help the Straw Hats defeat Kaido. So part of the appeal to the original musical is that it incorporates a multitude of dance styles like ballet and jazz. The Jellicle Ball sequence in that iteration usually incorporated as many cat characters and ways of dancing as possible, so it lasted for as long as 13 minutes. Like, damn, that's dedication. Here I can see the actors getting into the moment pretty well, even when Rum Tum Tugger shows up to spice it up a bit. There is an inkling of effort to be had. Normally I wouldn't like songs going on too long, but I don't think it's a problem for the ball scene. It is a competition after all, but I just wish it was better choreographed. Anyway, Victoria saw some cats harassing Grisabella. The latter steps out and laments her loneliness in the one breakout song of the musical, Memory.
So from the pavement as the moon lost her memory, she is smiling alone in the lamplight, the withered leaves collected by feet.
And sure enough, Jennifer Hudson does really well here with her take on the song. Supposedly, she only left her tribe to see the outside world, but on top of her dealing with Macavity, she needed to make amends with her tribe, since its members now see her as too stuck up. So you can feel the emotion of her wanting forgiveness and to belong again. And really, the only reason Victoria was given that abandonment scene at the beginning was so she can relate to her.
Follow me home if you dare to. I wouldn't know where to lead you. Should I take chances when no one took chances on me? So I watch from the dark, wait for my life to start with no beauty in my memory.
So it's sounding like old Deuteronomy isn't mad at Grisabella for leaving, and she's certainly accepting of Victoria despite her not being part of the tribe. Otherwise, we get a song sequence involving Gus, the theater cat, played by Ian McKellen.
Name, as I ought to have told you before, is really asparagus, but that's such a fuss to pronounce that they usually call me just Gus.
It's an okay sequence. I always wondered what would happen if Gandalf sang, and then he gets kidnapped. Next is Skimbleshanks, the railway cat, putting on yet another decent song sequence.
Of his fast green eyes and the signal goes all clear. And we're off at last for the northern part of the northern hemisphere.
It's funny how the earlier song sequences that didn't involve theater felt odd, yet now it actually feels close to a Broadway performance once the film takes place inside a closed stage. Sure, they do transition onto a railway track, and even inside a train. It's all possibly being done in their heads, but it feels better executed than before. I really like this sequence. Holy crap, I like this sequence? Well, that can't do. Quick! Macavity, use your power to Thanos him away!
Macavity's a mystery cat. He's called the Hidden Paw, for he's the master criminal who can defy the law.
Of course they would have Taylor Swift be his partner. Though for the record, I don't have an opinion on her personally. But yeah, she gets all the cats high as hell with catnip just so they can partake in her song, which is about how amazing Macavity is.
The operations.
The Napoleon of crime.
Macavity, Macavity, there's no one like Macavity. He's a fiend in human shape, a monster of depravity. You may meet him in a by-street, you may see him in a square.
Well, never let it be said that Elba wasn't sexy as a cat. So even though every one of these cats are contestants, he thinks he's worthy of being reborn since the other characters are gone. But old Deuteronomy is like, no, You have no soul and are a cheat. And then she gets Thanos'd. Now unless she makes him the Jellicle choice, she has to walk the plank and drown? Cats can swim. Whatever. Victoria believes Mistopheles can bring her back since he's a magician. They persuade him through song, but by the time they find the right spell, Deuteronomy had already died. Just kidding. After looking like he failed, it turns out successful and she just appeared behind them. You know the big bad is gonna come and kick your ass now, right? Well, as he and his cohort take off, Jenny decides to do that trick she did earlier by taking off her fur coat to free her friends and beat up Growl Tiger. Then he dies.
The fiend of the past.
Don't ever do that again. Now, as part of Grisabella's path toward redemption, Victoria convinces her through song to come back and sing to everyone. She regains the trust of her tribe, and Deuteronomy makes her the Jellicle choice for the Heaviside layer. And to get there, they ride a balloon-tied chandelier into the sky. Macavity tries one last time to catch a ride, but fails, and I guess he'll be stuck on that statue for a while, probably due to running out of magic. Otherwise, this seems like a happy ending, as Victoria is welcomed as a member of the tribe. Well, I can see why this movie got panned so much. Putting aside the cat and world designs, the story felt rather slow in what it was trying to tell. It was ultimately about forgiveness and second chances, because out of all the cats we've seen, Grisabella was the one to get chosen. But all this started because we saw the cats meet Victoria, so I thought maybe it was going to lead to something bigger with her. It's also not helped either that the cat designs just feel unappealing to look at, as they lack the style and aesthetic of the theater costumes. Previous iterations may have had more human-looking characters, but they had so much life, flavor, and personality that you didn't really care. But if the film really wanted more realistic-looking cat people, they could have gone for the purely animated approach. But I guess Amblin was scared that moviegoers wouldn't take the work seriously, as if animation is only for kids and horny adults, or something. If the Cats musical can be imaginative at what anthropomorphic cats can be like within the limitations of reality, why not break reality and get super creative with it? It could be like a grander version of Gay Paris, just with more characters and song sequences. As it is, this movie might have some good performances and song sequences, but it's far from being great. As you can imagine, on a budget of $80 million to $100 million, it barely grossed back even the lowest amount, and it currently sits at a 20% rotten rating on Rotten Tomatoes. This is easily Tom Hooper's worst effort, which is a shame given his success in Les Mis and The King's Speech. But what's especially unforgivable is the precedent by having the VFX team work on the film after it hit theaters. If your work is not ready for prime time, keep it in post-production until it is. I'm sure there are many other things I might have missed or didn't touch upon, but I've covered enough ground for one video. As a standalone film, Cats 2019 might have worked better if it made different design choices, but even then, its slow pacing and plot make for an otherwise forgettable experience. I'm the Media Hunter. Media's my prey, and reviewing them my way.
You could say that by and large it was me who was in charge of the sleeping car express. From the driver and the guards to the guy from playing cards, I would supervise them all, more or less. I will watch you without wings.